Oh, hey, didn't see that. I was sitting there playing on my Switch 2, and look, yeah, we have some stuff to get to today, but I'm using the D-Brand Kill Switch case, which is really cool. I actually got the full travel kit here. There's this cover you can put games on that goes on. Honestly, this is my favorite way to use and protect my Switch on the go. You can sit here and pull the strap like this and close it up. And look at this. Now I don't even need like a separate case to take this thing anywhere. It literally is fully protected. It even comes with an accessory for your dock so you don't have to remove things. And what's even cooler about this is as I take this off, look, big shout out to D-Brand here. You can go ahead and remove it. And look at that. The grip stays attached to your Joy-Con. Oh man, I love the Kill Switch case. I did not even think I was going to like it as much as I did until it arrived. You can go ahead and get your own Kill Switch case down below through the link in the description. Orders should be shipping out in July. Now look, we have a lot of news we have to dive into with the Nintendo Switch 2. And one of those pertains to the fact that, yes, the Switch 2 has been hacked. It is official. It is real, or at least it looks like it's real. It's really hard to verify, but it does look like the Switch 2 has been hacked. And we have to talk about what that means and how far away are we from this hack leading to like, oh my God, now homebrew is there and games are being dumped and stuff that consumers care about, whether you're a consumer of homebrew and hacking systems and backing up games, or you're a good old pirate out there flying on the high seas, or you're just concerned about game leaks for things like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Dust Bloods next year, and other games. Now, besides that, we have some news because there's been a lot of teardowns of the systems, and we learned some things about the control sticks and some positive news about the GameCube controller fixing a problem that dates all the way back to the original GameCube, and some other details in there, like sales data. That's right, we have a story about sales data for day one of Nintendo Switch 2, and it looks like Nintendo has been setting some all-time sales records. Now, a couple more things before we dive right in is, look, one of the things that I knew I was going to need right when I got a Switch 2 was a memory card. A micro SD express card at that, because that's the only thing compatible with Switch 2. So, of course, I went and got myself a Lexar 1 terabyte. And look, they have partnered with us. You can go down below and sign up for an email list. That email list will notify you the moment this thing is back in stock. I want to shout out to Lexar for also sponsoring this video. And let's go ahead and remind you, we are giving away 5 copies of Donkey Kong Bonanza. I know a lot of big spiel to go through on this video today, but we're giving away 5 copies of Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's just a straight up giveaway. That's just something I'm doing. You can enter down in the link in the description or the pinned comment as well. And I wish everyone luck. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in to the news. And first, let's talk about the hack. So this David Buchanan guy says he did a userland ROP on day 1, and you can see it running here. There's a little frame buffer graphic running in the top corner. He claims he couldn't full screen this because the frame rate would tank. Now, look, full disclosure here, I am a scrub. I know nothing about the modding scene. I know some stuff about hacking, but knowing how to hack some things is far different than me being able to hack like a piece of hardware. I'm used to like, oh, you want to like hack a piece of software or something. And so I don't really know what this means other than it is a hack. So I'm relying on others. So I want to let you know I am outside my bounds. So I just want to give some context I at least saw online. So this was over on the our Nintendo Reddit. This is where I originally saw it. And you can see the blue sky link. And this user right here seems to give a good explanation. So this person says, is a user land ROP exploit unless they take it to another stage? It's just that. This guy says, can you please elaborate more? What are the implications? And Whelpsai says this. ROP means essentially that he managed to hijack the control flow of the program he was running so that it could run pieces of other code already in memory. Basically running tiny pieces of the software Nintendo wrote in an order and that way that they just didn't intend it to run. But it doesn't allow arbitrary code and it can't yet, if ever, take over the whole device. It could be an entry point to another attack or not. So essentially, it's a very minor way of getting into the system, but you're just running Nintendo's code a little bit out of order. You're not actually getting in and injecting your own code. And while this hack could be the beginning, this absolutely could be the beginning that leads to the system being fully hacked, it might not be. This might not be the method to get in. And right now, you can't actually do anything. It's not like they're injecting their own code. Not like they're putting homebrew on. It's just the beginning. And look, these ROP hacks are fairly popular from when I was able to Google search online. They happen on pretty much every piece of hardware. So I'm not going to sit here and panic over it as a consumer that just doesn't want things leaked online. Also, this person was able to factory reset it and still use it. Nintendo did not brick their system, maybe because he was only executing Nintendo's own code rather than any sort of custom code. Either way, I'm just going to sit here and go, yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2 has been hacked. Cool. You want to own me on the internet over it? Go right ahead. I already admitted the story I reported on was wrong, and I already admitted that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But hey, you know what? It's been hacked. It's just kind of a useless hack right now, as nothing can really be done with it. But maybe someday something will. Now we got to get to another story about game key cards. And I hope this is the last time we have to talk about it, but that's because developers are thanking Nintendo for them. So game key card might upset gamers, but one insider says publishers are thanking Nintendo. So as we go down here, it says, gamers have been quite miffed with game key cards, as many think the fact that downloads are required defeats the purpose of doing a physical release in the first place. Gamers want to have their purchases all in one physical release, be that a game card on Switch or Switch 2 or discs on other platforms. That said, early sales of game key cards seems to show that at least a decent portion of consumers are okay with it. In an interview with Bloomberg, Neko Kino of Kaios Company Consultancy Agency, which offers support devices to developers, had some insight to share on the publisher side of things. According to Kino, while gamers might not be smiling about game keycards, publishers are applauding the move. More expensive games, along with cartridges that just contain code to download data, may not make gamers happy, but software publishers are thanking Nintendo as they face rising costs to make games. Now look, I'm not the biggest fan of things like this, Yakuza 0 being a game keycard, and yeah, well, it's certainly better than something like this, Split Fiction being literally a code in the box. I'll show you, don't worry, code's already been redeemed. The point is that I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather things be more like Cyberpunk, which is a complete cartridge. Notice no warning label down here because it's the complete game. So I would rather that be the way that things go on Switch 2. It's just not reality. And developers have been pushing, publishers really, have been pushing a lot to go all digital. But Nintendo knows they have a large fan base that likes to buy physically, and they want to have, games on store shelves that aren't just Nintendo games. So chances are there was a conversation, this is obviously just me guessing, between Nintendo and these companies, and the companies, found a compromise to get their games on store shelves. Because look, the alternative is people think, if game key cards didn't exist for something like Bravely Default, that, they would just put it on a cartridge. Or they wouldn't, and they would just go digital only. Nintendo can't force companies to use cartridges. Like if they only made cartridges, that sounds like a solution, but it might not be. So we have to understand that, this is just the way the industry is going. It sucks. I hate, all digital future, even though I accepted it on PC a long time ago. But whatever. Let's get into some neutral news that's probably going to excite some people. And I'm calling it neutral because the people that it should excite the most is Nintendo. Yesterday on the Nintendo Byte podcast, we had Paul Gale Network on, who said he had a source, and Paul's really accurate with sales data, about the sales of Nintendo Switch 2. Since that podcast ended last night, a couple other people reached out to me that have credentials and have essentially verified that story. Now, again, I have not seen this data for myself. I'm just sharing it out in the world, but I want to let you know that it looks like Nintendo Switch 2 broke every single launch record for day one sales. So I put out this tweet today, 24-hour launch sales. I have now heard from 3 independent people that Nintendo have globally shifted over 3 million Switch 2 units. This doesn't include any additional sales made today already and over the upcoming weekend. Because again, not technically sold out yet. For perspective, no console has come close to that level of sales in 24 hours. Over a 24-hour launch, the previous record was held by PlayStation 4, which sold just over 1 million units worldwide. The 2-month total record is around 4.5 million units, held by PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Nintendo is on pace to beat that in less than a week. Sales of this magnitude have literally never been seen in console history. And yes, I go down here and make sure I shout out friend of the channel, Paul Gale Network, because if he didn't say that on the podcast, these people wouldn't have reached out to me. So, yeah, I think that is really good news for Nintendo. Of course, they are breaking records. Anyone who thought this was going to be a Wii U style flop, this doesn't prove you wrong yet because it's just launch sales. It was always going to sell well at launch. But selling better than anything has ever sold before, well, that was predicted by many. And again, we don't have the full launch sales through the weekend. I would venture to say that things are going very, very well. And I would suspect Nintendo will make an announcement next month, although they could hold off till the next investors meeting and then give updated figures. Whatever the case might be, whenever Nintendo decides to share the numbers, it's going to be quite impressive in my estimation. Now, what's really cool about the Switch 2 and its game chat function? And I don't know how much we're going to talk about game chat at the channel. I have used it. I have the Switch 2 camera. It's fine. You can also use any camera, and that includes your phone. So Nintendo Switch 2 lets you use your phone as a camera with just a couple of cables. You can see the setup here is USB-C over a cable into your phone, and this is an iPhone in particular. So a new test done by YouTube channel, Will It Work, reveals that Nintendo Switch 2 owners can use their phone as a camera for the Game Chat feature. Game Chat, which is a new feature for the system, lets users communicate with friends online. Voice chat is supported, but so is video, as long as you have a compatible USB camera. However, this new discovery, it turns out you don't even need to go out and buy a separate camera. The method from Will It Work? It's actually very simple. You need a couple of cables. One is USB-C to HDMI, and the other is an HDMI capture cable. The USB-C to HDMI cable goes into your smartphone. Following that, plug the HDMI capture cable in. You can then download an app that puts the camera in full screen mode without buttons. True Vistage is free and recommended, and both modern iPhones and Android should be supported. You can even test to ensure that everything works in the system settings. So, look, Nintendo's basically supporting everything. People have tried dozens, maybe even hundreds at this point of different cameras and USB cameras with the Switch 2, and they all work for game chat. None of it fixes the frame rate. None of it fixes that the video seems to run at 480p, but just means you don't have to go to where you buy new things if you just happen to have things laying around, including your cell phone. So again, Nintendo not locking things down to just their stuff, even though they said you could use other cameras. We didn't really know they meant literally anything that can plug in can be a camera. Now, we have one story here about Nintendo Switch 2 repair prices, because of course, now that Switch 2s are in our hand, like mine is right here, we have to worry about what if something breaks? What if we drop it? What if for some reason we run it over with a lawnmower? I don't know. What's it going to cost to fix the damn thing? Because, well, yeah, warranty is good, right? You can use your warranty for up to a year. What about after that? What's it going to cost to fix things? Well, one thing is good in here, or at least it seems to be good. The rest are, well, I don't know what else you expected. So we got a list of Switch 2 repair prices. When we come down here, you see repairing the console is $179. Repairing the dock is $66. Repairing the Switch 2 Pro controller is $48. Camera is $30. And the AC adapter, if that somehow broke, is $18. Anyways, folks, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am the Thunder Robot Dance from Nintendo Prime. Now we got to go stream Summer Game Fest.